What's going on, YouTube? Zach is back, bringing you another Pokemon Unite video. This time, it's sort of a guide video, but to explain a little bit, I had two ideas for guide videos recently, but both would have made shorter videos, so I decided to put them together into this video that you're now watching. So if either of the subjects of the video interests you, there's going to be timestamps in the pinned comment. You can click on those to skip around wherever you like to be. I'm going to start out talking about the experience changes, and then I'm going to move on to Emblem Loadouts afterward. So if you like both those things, stick around, watch the whole thing. If you just want one thing, do your thing. Either way though, I really hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave a like if you did. Tell me in the comments what you liked about it or what you'd like to see me do in the future. Subscribe for more stuff like this, and you can follow me at my Twitch channel in the link in the description below. I don't know why it was hard for me to get out. I stream live. I'm gonna maybe play tonight, so definitely come check it out. And I really hope you enjoyed your holiday season, whatever you're celebrating. I definitely enjoyed mine. It's been a great time of year. Anyway, let's get into it. In case you have not seen or do not know, I was gonna do like I've done in the past, where I talk really in depth about it and like bring up the video and bring up the data and everything. But honestly, the changes are simple enough that I can just talk about it. Basically, the changes recently been made to where experience works differently with Pokemon. Now, in the past, the most experience you could get of killing a wild Pokemon is 130% of the experience it's worth for whoever's knocking it out, and then the 30% towards whoever's experience share nearby. If you watch my experience share video, you probably know how that breakdown works. But what they've done now is made it so that the more Pokemon on your team work together to defeat a wild Pokemon, the more XP total your entire group of Pokemon that knocked it out get, although less individually. To explain what I mean by that, say you knock out a wild Pokemon by yourself, you get 100% of the XP. If you and your teammate knock it out, you get roughly, I think it's like 90 or 80% now each. So it's more overall by a lot actually, but less individually. And it just keeps going up like that. What that means is experience share is no longer as necessary in lane for most Pokemon. And in fact, the item does work differently now, I do believe. Let's take a look. This one I will read just because it's in game. Okay. When the Pokemon has the fewest experience points on its team against... Okay, so they didn't change the text. This is not true. The way it works now, so you still get the passive if you have the least amount of experience on your team. You still get passive experience over time. But the shared experience for defeating Pokemon only applies to defeating enemy Pokemon. So Pokemon on the enemy team, not wild Pokemon. Which makes experience share honestly a lot less good. But it can still be useful in Pokemon that don't really spend a lot of time farming, because they're not really going to make use of the fact that they can get in on this extra XP, right? Pokemon that I would class this into are like Comfy, Blissey, Clefable, pretty much pure supportive Pokemon. I think experience share is still really good on them. The stats are obviously nice, and they usually will have the least XP on the team, so the passive is still really nice too. So it's not without use, but it's definitely a lot less of a universal item now. And I would say most supporters and defenders now are freed up to have a third item slot for whatever else they like. So Latias, which I've played a lot of this season, what I've been doing is sticking with my main two here, and then I replaced experience share with Big Root. You can also do Drive Lens instead of Curse, but the idea behind the build obviously is Shell Bell is really good cooldown reduction, then you want some other damage item, and then Big Root is really nice for Potion, plus Shell Bell, plus Dragon Pulse. So all of it works together really nicely. I'll show a few different Pokemon that I've had different builds on recently. On Ho-Oh, I've also been using Big Root on Ho-Oh. You can see kind of a common theme here. But also, of course, the other two items that I think are commonly very good on Ho-Oh are Resonant Guard and Curse Bangle. Both because they make really good use of Ho-Oh's damage over time and area of effect abilities. And I've talked about that at length in the Ho-Oh guide. Check that out if you haven't seen it before and want to know more. And Eldegoss as well. I've been doing Resonant Guard still. Drive Lens or Curse is usually what I run here. And then I like Muscle Band a lot in the current meta and on Eldegoss in general. A lot of people like attack speed on Eldegoss, and it's plain to see why Eldegoss boosted attacks are very, very good at all stages of the game. But it's kind of costly sometimes to run like a lot of attack speed in your set, because then the rest of your kit doesn't really work the way it wants to. Because if you have special attack, less HP, less cooldown reduction, yada yada, then you're attacking more, but your heals are less good, you're less survivable. It's like, it's all in on that, and it's not really what you want to be doing. So For more balanced fit, something like this I think works really well. We have one defense, one offense, and then one offense utility. You could also try like Rapid Fire Scarf, or if you're running Cotton Spore, Rescue Hood's probably good here too. But you see the idea. There's a lot of different options on all these Pokemon now because of the experience changes, so it's overall a positive thing, I think. My only thought is that it kind of makes you feel bad about experience here. It's definitely a lot less good of an item now. But you know, I guess times change, everything changes. Oh, another one I've done a lot of, Umbreon. So I still have my Rescue Hood Floatstone build. If you watch on the stream, I play a lot of Umbreon with that. And then Big Root helps because normally your wish, you want to put up other people to help them, right? But now it's still helpful in yourself. And usually I run Potion on Umbreon, so it helps that too. So it's really nice there. A lot of Big Roots, as you can tell. Big Root's a very, very good item, and not having to run experience just frees up a lot of Pokemon to use it. Lapras is a great example. This is a pretty memey all heals build, but you know, it's Lapras. It's fun with Big Root. But you see the idea. Lots of Pokemon have a lot of more options now. That said, I do think there are some Pokemon that experience here might still be good on. And I think a good example of one that I hadn't mentioned already is Pikachu. Reason being, Pikachu ideally wants to be involved in a lot of KOs throughout the game, because he's a very high damage, bursty, stun, disable character. So potentially, my theory is, I haven't tried it yet, but I think experience here might be good on Pikachu to get more experience out of all the KOs he's involved in. So might be something worth experimenting with. If y'all try it, let me know in the comments if it's a good or bad idea. But anyway, that's the experience changes in a nutshell. I thought I would talk about that first because it's sort of the easier topic to go through. Not very complicated, pretty simple to mention. And it means if you're getting spammed by attackers and all-rounders and people don't want to pick defenders and supporters, hey, you're still going to get XP together. So it helps a little bit for everyone, even the players not doing things right. But anyway, the topic that I think will take up more time in the video is emblems, so we'll get into that now. To start with, I will say on emblems, compared to held items, the stat boosts and everything you get from emblems are much less significant. So if you only have like bronze emblems or don't have a complete set for a certain whatever you're going for, I think that you can still make whatever you have work as long as you have some idea behind it. And the main basis for the ideas I want to talk about sort of has, I guess, two main categories of thought go into my emblem builds when I make them. The first is your dump stats, and the second is what colors you're getting. Obviously, if you don't know how emblems work, they all give +1 stat minus another, and they give you 1 or 2 colors, and the colors, if you have enough of any one color, you get an effect from it. So green, for instance, if you have 2 greens, you get 1% special attack. If you have 4, you get 2%, and if you have 6, you get 4%. So with the way these things scale, you want to be hitting these thresholds pretty much exactly. Like if you run 5 green, then you're not getting this, and you're wasting a slot that could be going to some other thing that you could be developing. So you want to build in a way that sort of maxes all your numbers as best you can for whatever you're trying to do. And then your dump stat. So your dump stat is basically whatever the Pokemon that are going to use this emblem don't need. So this build right here is a special emblem build. So my dump stat is attack. And crit rate, actually, because I don't think there's any special Pokemon outside of Inteleon. I could be wrong on that, don't quote me. But I think only Inteleon, maybe Empoleon. I think just those two use crit rate, and I wouldn't use this build on either of them. Point being, attack and crit rate are my dump stats. So those minuses don't mean a thing. If we look at the rest of the build, then we have 20 HP, 5 special defense, 70 move speed, 1.2% cooldown. It's all upside, which is really, really nice. A big part of that is running higher grade emblems on stats where it is making use of a dump stat. So a good example is something like Venomoth, where it's minus 0.6% crit rate plus 50 HP and 2 good colors. So it's a lot you're getting out of that one emblem slot. And then if you ever have emblems that reduce a stat you don't want to reduce, I usually run bronzes in those, even if they buff a stat that I do want to buff, like Beedrill, for instance, minus special defense plus special, or minus HP plus special defense. It's a negative for you and a positive for you, as opposed to just minus crit rate or attack, which that would be only positive, right? This is positive and negative. So I run bronze because I want to maintain control of the numbers enough that we're not running a high grade Beedrill, but we have negative HP. Generally maintaining all positive is pretty nice for any Pokemon, so I try to do that. And the colors with this build, I guess I'll just talk about this build now that I've basically delved them to death, use it as an example. This is my cooldown reduction build. The only two items, I think, outside of Celebi that give cooldown reduction are Mew and Mewtwo, so you can run those two. And then all black, which gives 4% cooldown reduction if you have 7 black emblems. So it gives 5% cooldown reduction total, which, again, doesn't sound like a lot, and it's not compared to what you get from held items. Like I said, emblems are a lot less significant for the most part, but it's still nice in terms of min-maxing stats, and I understand people like to do that, which is why I'm making this video. Anyway, suffice to say, on a Pokemon like Latios or Latios that wants a lot of cooldown reduction to Dragon Pulse a lot, a build like this can be really useful. It can also be useful on something like Comfy, where your HP doesn't really matter very much, and you don't care that your stats aren't very good overall, because all you really need to do is press your buttons to heal people, and that's it pretty much. So I have 3 special and 3 physical builds total here. That's one of my special builds. I'll look at a general special build next. I think this could be something that's the sort of thing that's good on any Pokemon that's a special attacker, because it has really good use of its dump stats. All these emblems here all together give only minuses in the dump stats. You're getting a lot of benefits. HP, both defenses, special attack, movement speed, and then all of these colors to give 4% special attack, I think 4% HP, 2% defense, 2% special defense, and then 1% cooldown reduction, which isn't a lot, but you know, it's still something. So it's a really, really good build. It gives a lot of good stuff for a lot of Pokemon. I would say this is pretty, if you're trying to build a good special build with emblems, this is probably the best you could do. Although, actually, now that I look at it, I guess this guy gives minus movement speed. Maybe we change him to a bronze. This is live on air, folks. This is exciting. I should have just filtered. Whatever, I'm just scrolling at this point. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I don't even mind this. Yeah, it's even better on the movement speed. A little less special attack, but, you know, movement speed's really nice. And you already have the green effect to give you special attack, so a little bit of movement speed is nice as well. Suffice to say, making use of your dump stats is good with all these emblems, and then the colors are all good as well to give all these extra benefits. I just realized my camera's blocking half this stuff. Yo, let me turn off my camera for this part and show my general build, and I'll go back to the other one in a second. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry guys, so sorry. Anyway, if you don't have these exact emblems, anything that gives minus attack or cooldown or critical hit rate and gives some positive effect with colors you want is generally good. So this is a really good build for this. Here's the cooldown reduction build I mentioned. These are the emblems I use for that. And then we'll look at my special attack speed build, which optimizes for attack speed, obviously. It does come at a cost of not very many colors, but it's mainly because most of the red emblems are monocolors. So you sort of have to do it this way if you want to get attack speed. The physical build's the same way. What's really nice, though, is we make good use of our dump stat here with the bronze ones and everything else. And the stats are all really good on the emblems themselves. The colors aren't as great, but attack speed, again, really good on some special attackers. This is what I use on Eldegoss, for instance. Being able to power out attacks really quickly while also still maintaining decent stats is really, really nice. Next, let's move on to the physical builds. We'll start off with the tank build. This is good, I would say, on any tank that uses attack, or any all-rounder that wants to be tanky for that matter. Your dump stats are used really nicely here, special attack and critical hit rate. You do take a minor hit to defense, but it comes at the cost of some really good color combinations and really, really good stats. This is a really solid emblem build for being survivable, while also having decent offensive presence and a minor bit of utility in the cooldown reduction. Doesn't hurt at all. I would say this is good, like I said, on any defenders, most all-rounders that are physical. I don't think anything outside of those two roles. Maybe Sableye, but that's the only physical supporter, right? Anyway, the crit build. This one leans a bit more into attack and critical hit rate. Obviously, your defense takes a bigger hit and your colors aren't as diverse, but the stats are still generally nice. Your dump stat special attack is used very, very nicely. And 1.8% crit rate doesn't sound like a lot, but again, on some Pokemon, especially Pokemon that care about their crit rate, this is a really, really big deal. This is the sort of build I use on stuff like Scyther or Absol that want to just burst people down very, very quickly, as quickly as possible. Having that extra crit rate means a higher chance at getting that burst you need. And last but not least, we have the attack speed physical build. Again, with the special build, it is less color diverse. And there's a lot more bronze in this one because most of the good red emblems are helpful for special attackers. So your stats are way, way less good here. Your defenses both take a hit, but your dump stats are still used okay. Your attack and HP getting buffed a little bit is good, and the colors are all right. And of course, 7 for the 8% attack speed is really, really good on any Pokemon that cares about this. This is good on stuff like Dragapult, potentially good maybe on Cinderace. Anyone who just wants to dish out attacks really, really quickly. But yeah, like I said before, I think the biggest things to keep in mind is your dump stats, what colors you're getting. And of course, if you are having minuses and things you don't want minuses in, giving those bronze emblems can help mitigate the hit to your stats. To where if we had golds here, it'd be like -12 or -10. You don't want that. But anyway, I think that'll do it for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I really, really appreciate you being here. Once again, happy holidays. If you're watching this in the new year, happy 2026. Wow, that's crazy. Makes me feel old. Anyway, thank you all so much for being here. Really appreciate you. Anyway, peace.